다 가장기 최내마 내년쯤에 송주의 가장 천마 샤인.
We will continue with the teachings on the Torch of True Meaning from where we left off yesterday.
yapsaydı yonsu tabi lama şeri çömade nyamdo yewe lama shen zaya lama sunu chilabni jode lama dingwe nere susu kiwe inya rong sangye sasu ki juba ingya rong ranga sangye su kone sohan debni na sangye sasu idam ke lama dojilo menti kusungdo le jesu shuna dodun zaba yin jabe shilong le ngon doji changwa de tela nyezi simchen ka de ngala nyezi bide ngene tibung tusu bang sheda ngane de lyune de juba shene chebale juba shene chebale teni de rang yu lege juba ta che do she sumbe rang lama de yena sangye tamje nye tela diksana sangye tamje le diksaba de keme chena sangye tamje chebe sonam tamje rang juba se ka de ju taye ba ne chong du lama khona la ra le je tela mugu de cheba so chebe phe ba do me ba sonde gyule 강게 러금라 건발래 라메고라 미범마이나 동 야라 동게 차면로라 닌주데바 사투르 라메 선데블렌 존규나 니범문차 차 미니시 강시 조림 깨버 건바와 라마라 심기도 샤좀 동라니 슈차 미베도 셰다 존셀레 레기부 상게 좀 된데 초주는 진이 슈바다 상게 좀 된데 되는 유고다 소나 투도제를 총에 소남기 공부 진입한테 대회야 러병기 법이 부가지가 소남 개발도 봐서 뒤지 지시나 여기 뭐 전주기 쌤네 상객이 22년으로 교와오 세송 티바치 중도 어디 되베 라마다 상아지 유루명안에 라마니라 유년이 개발 주세를 집업네 개매 저동 답이 탐지 냠마님서 랑원이 이게 라마 인게 자야라마 코나는 걸 숨주매 라마 자야라마 코나는 걸 숨주매人아지 원고 수친지 현재의 세계 라마는自动당부 손 유인배 너취 악취 만용 가슈야 슈센 딩미사바니 개차워 낭 현재면은 랑가라마미 유벨라마는自动 유인이 미로 물구로서 되는 미롱
Even if you are not able to hear the Dharma from a famous guru, such as a lineage holder, if you take another guru who has experience and realization as your root guru, you will receive the blessings. Whether the guru is actually an ordinary being or an emanation of a Buddha or a Bodhisattva, if you pray to him while meditating that he is a Buddha, all the Buddhas, Bodhisattvas, and Yidam deities will enter the body, speech, and mind of that Vajra master and work for the benefit of beings. From the Mukhagama of Manjushri. Any sentient being who belittles a Vajrabhara of the future belittles me, so therefore I abandon them all for a time. And I dwell in his body and receive the offerings of other practitioners. Those who please him will purify the karmic obscurations in their own beings. Thus pleasing your guru pleases all the Buddhas. If you commit a wrong against him, it is no different from committing a wrong against all the Buddhas. Also, if you offer to him, you gain the same merit as from offering to all the Buddhas, and your obscurations will be extinguished. Innumerable sutras and treatises say that our attainment of supreme siddhi depends solely upon the Guru, and that immeasurable benefits accrue through our devotion and offerings to him. It says in the Tantras, meditating on 100,000 deities' bodies is not worth even 100,000th part of focusing undistracted on the Guru's body. Reciting the approach and accomplishment 100 billion times is not even 100,000th of the power of supplicating the Guru thrice. Meditating on the completion phase for eons is not even a 20,000th part of the Guru merely appearing in your mind. From the clear lamp, Child of noble family, greater than the mass of all the Bhagavan Buddhas who dwell in the 10 directions, and the merit born from the Vajra body, speech, and mind of all of those Bhagavan Buddhas is the merit of a single pore of the Master. If you ask why this is so, child of noble family, bodhicitta is the essence of the Buddha's wisdom. Generally speaking, there is no difference at all between a guru with whom you study the sutras of the Mahayana and foundation vehicles, and a guru from whom you receive the transmissions and instructions of the secret mantra, other than a slight difference in their significance. When we talk about gurus against whom you can commit the first root downfall and break samaya, this depends upon yourself. So such gurus are not necessarily identified as your root guru alone. Once you have received a tantric empowerment, you must guard against the first root downfall for all the gurus with whom you have dharmic connections. Thus, no matter how much or little dharma from the sutras of the tantras you may have received, from then on it is important to not accumulate any misdeeds. Even if you have no dharmic connections to them, the lineage gurus may not be your own gurus, and thus you may not be able to commit a downfall with regard to them. Even so, it is never right to belittle or criticize them, or so forth.
제 심정이 꽤납니다. 마르셰tin지 참인지 곰. 그 최고로 수색이 꽤납니다. 주직입니다. 자월셰베 연대 코너를 삼는 제수이랑 무구차 개발라메 꽤납니다. 파바테베 또 개발은 저 자기의 돈에 동순기 심정 탐지기 도바 초바의 최대 탐지 시관 전주 선발제를 매번 님이 최대 전주 선발의 긴 제하로 예배게데 뭐 죄나 냐옹무도 류바상 아게바 고 카치는 아게를 제베 제르라 쉬어가장하게 매번 주로 시에송비 지리기부 담발을 매번 예바바도매 그 전주 선발 양그 상하지 내주로 유체니 제야 기부 담바 다 난게 내주를 내가 가나 수이 미시 조배상게 내지마도 가사신기 가사게 최 미시버 송배 수퇴되랑 안에다 구바담나 신기인데 참에디 신규라 따바디에 랑풍어 춘이인도베 랑규인 바시기 자라소도 계시낭 다다 운숨도 라마라 대바미지 최제라 다나메버 그런 민대버 도마 토로가 신기게 자르통 시기에 미상바다 치당에 봐줘 신기 군대부 유도 교바다 라마 규베된 신라 다나쳐 그라 디기냐라 정수기 중 탐지기 뒤구르 지동체 시기엔상시 다리버서는 미럼도 통지되반 데라.
Generally, do not examine a sentient being's faults. Know them to be your mothers, be grateful, and meditate on loving kindness and compassion. In particular, do not analyze the faults of anyone who has started to practice Dharma. Knowing that we are like people in the same boat, think only of their positive qualities, rejoice and have devotion. Especially, do not examine the Guru's faults. It says in the Noble Sutra of the Mudra engaging in producing the power of faith, criticizing a single bodhisattva has greater negative consequences than stealing the possessions of all the sentient beings in the billion-fold universe and destroying all the stupas. Those who, due to whatever circumstances, develop contempt for and revile a bodhisattva will be reborn in the wailing hell with a body 500 leagues in size and 500 heads, mouths, and tongues, and each of their tongues will be plowed by 500 plows. Thus insulting holy beings is an incalculably great offense. Insulting bodhisattvas in particular, and yogis of the secret mantra especially, is far graver. Furthermore, we do not know who may be a holy person or who may be practicing yoga internally. It is said that other than a perfect Buddha, no individual is able to truly measure another. Thus speaking badly of and criticizing anyone else sweeps away your own positive qualities. Examining faults in others is self-destructive by nature, so it is important to post a watchman to examine solely your own faults. We can see now that many undesired things befall everyone who lacks faith in the Guru and perceives Dharma practitioners impurely. Others see them as adversaries. They die in unpleasant ways amid ill omens. They are the target of everyone's criticism. But all those who respectfully serve a guru and perceive others purely are naturally happy and have good reputations. Everyone praises, respects, and reveres them, and they die in pleasant circumstances amid excellent omens. These things we can see and hear for ourselves.
Yugo Sone, Lama Sangi Stone, Sangi Chilimju, Chenju Sembertona, Chenju Sembechila, Trudo on Trudo Gichil, Suzuki, Kishi Sambosam Tona, Teda Tumbi Chilimju, Mugumen and Chilab Yemi Juberson, Tena Zaya Lama Telelava, Sangi Shenji, Loss to Yuba, that will Maimba, Choju Tusum, Yukujo Maluban Duban Oyi, Kunjogi and Dela Mutame, Tetam Zaya Lama de Number Reva, Yin, Teremaza, Tata Chok in the Rodunze, Kibunamda. Nidazime Trusumche, Lamen Namru Rala Wonu Tea, the Tilo Loba Yenje, Salame Gugobr Murdi, Donna Sanges Kacheva the Jig Sange Yidam, Goyu Homoson, Zerche, Rana Shem, Madun, Sumatu, Kadin Jaya, Lame, Zebale, Hadzi Gume, Debe Sangatameva Tada, Chojuna Sanges Lama Yidam, Padumeva Shune. Milamdun, Jigan Gilje, Gabameva Dala, Zalamandi, Seji Luigi, Sange, Tap Salaman over them, Luso Dudola, Gatin Hotamedo Yambata, Ni, Sheda Sansigan, Tola Dabas, Lamatin, Gan, J, Naza King, Lamatin, they were to do Mitemba Tenda or Mimba, Roshan, Gidu Chishuna, Sambu Lamaleba, Yantam, but a Sum Gabdre, Lamatenaya, gives a chill, Sawazama. 세수리 되네 상월저 같은 점 민버 법부여시 심어주고 동수기 르버체도 주로 탐에게 나왕가 냠 때문에도 있겠니 동수 잡아다 신점나 지금 유는 주주 더블 루르도 있겠니 무구 생행이 받다 라마 상계에서 공부하듯이 지럽체도 주고 내인
In the words of the Kaju forefathers, if you see the Guru as a Buddha, you will receive a Buddha's blessing. If you see him as a Bodhisattva, you will receive a Bodhisattva's blessing. If you see him as a Siddha, you will receive a Siddha's blessing. If you see him as an ordinary person, a good spiritual friend, you will receive the corresponding blessings. If you have no devotion for him, you will receive no blessing whatsoever. First, thus there is no other Buddha to be found elsewhere who is superior to your own root guru. He is the combined essence of all the jewels throughout the 10 directions and 3 times. The positive qualities of the jewels are limitless, and all of them are the manifestations of this root guru. Not only that, all the individuals everywhere who are now working for the benefit of beings, the sun and moon, herbal medicines, and even boats and bridges are the guru's display. Considered anyone who has given you an empowerment, transmission, or instruction, even those who taught you to read and write, to be an expression of your root guru. In short, resolve that he is a Buddha. Second, no matter how amazing the Buddhas, Yidams, and Kaju forefathers are, you have not seen their faces. You have not heard their speech. Even if you were to meet them, they could do nothing greater than what your guru does. Though there have been countless Buddhas in the past, and infinite Buddhas, Bodhisattvas, Gurus, and Yidams now dwell in the 10 directions, you have not had the fortune to meet a single one of them, even in a dream. But this root guru is teaching you the complete and unmistaken methods for attaining Buddhahood in one lifetime, in one body. Even if you ground your whole body into dust, you could not repay his kindness. Third, it should not be that you think about your guru when he pays attention to you, giving you teachings, gifts, and so forth, but forget about him when he is far away. You should not remember him when illness or misfortune occurs, but not when you are well. When you are walking, pacing, lying down, or sitting, whether you are happy or sad, at all times, no matter what occurs, think of nothing but the guru. Fourth, it should not be that you occasionally think of your guru and say, I go for refuge, or that you consider it amazing to recite a few supplications. Moved to tears and your hair standing on end, your longing should be so fervent that it is able to suddenly cast awareness aside, stop ordinary appearance, and produce an unidentifiable experience. When these four are present, that is the authentic doshan that makes you able to receive blessings and suddenly develop realization. The key to the rapid receipt of blessings is to meditate on the Guru as a Buddha.
Tia Chashin Gona Lama Chuku Jamberme, Sissimon Dana, Sabame the Jogar, Nation Dana, Mengi Lama, Mengi La. During the Teta Te Nyembo, Judy Kingur Kanda Kai, so Teta Yeme to Take, Kolungo Bosha, Tuya Te, Te Rinji Jare, La Mene Jugileso Tabula, Tabuya, Yon Ino, Gadrim Jimba, the Chile Simi, Teme Bichem, Bebaches, the Medu, Yule and Demigi. Tell you then to send income channel Lamata, shown the Chunse Shella, you didn't miss in your Lotacom. Tea Zadon, Narsaki. Sonam Tamsi Chame Tabashin Roy Indo. Gadin channel Lamata Shella Kubar and Shuki. Tea you and then Tamsi Mabel Hundredun. Mubi Shama Kagano, Kujola Chavada Gindule Ningur, Lunga, so Ginu Sane. Rangi Yende, Savandi, Lamano Mugi Cabra, the Gaver Kuji. Rang Sonam Sabade, Lamal Mugi Cabra, the Gaver Kuji, Molamtam, Gobi Mugu Mela Gaverso, Mugu Ravla Gajor, Dina Ding, Tamala, Gajori and Tamarju, Naru Miti Mila, Chayuga Sogi, Lametun, Gawa Chimber gave it, Tekone, Mudutaba, Tendane, Rari Minu. Chime Mugu and Kegavi, send the Ginat in the Rimgi Lob Chuwain.
Furthermore, if you are practicing Mahamudra, you should think of the Guru as the naked Dharmakaya. If you want to extend your life, think of him as Amitayus or White Tara. If you want to cure illness, think of him as the medicine Buddha. For duns, think of him as their remedy. You must view him as inseparable from the principal deities of any of the mandalas from the Tantras. This is the meaning of calling him the guardian of the mandala. Applying this similarly to other practices, they become a collection of activity practices for the Guru Yoga. Not being grateful is a sign of not valuing the Dharma. Without gratitude, all the efforts you do will be pointless and no qualities will arise in your mind stream. You will take that as a reason to cultivate wrong views, thinking, if you are audacious, that the Guru could not possibly have any good qualities, or if you're somewhat less so, that other Dharma practitioners could not. You will not have thus committed the first root downfall, and all the merit you have previously accumulated would be swept away as if with a broom. If you remember the Guru's kindness, dedication for him and the Dharma will naturally arise, and you will spontaneously develop all the positive qualities without effort. If true devotion does not come easily to you, you should gather as much merit as you can by offering to the three jewels, serving the Sangha, doing spiritual practice with your body, speech, and mind, and so forth. Then pray, by accumulating this merit, may I come to develop extraordinary devotion to the Guru. It is said that meditating in this way will immediately produce devotion. Those with the greatest devotion have the greatest spiritual practice. Those with average devotion have average practice, and the least devoted have the lowest spiritual practice. Naropa, Maitripa, Milarepa, Chayulwa, and others undertook great hardship for the sake of the Guru and achieved siddhi through that alone. We cannot be like them. Uncontrived devotion does not arise easily, so we are encouraged to train gradually, starting with supplication.
Dileya 가수라다 저기 가장 쉬운 신기해. 어느 저기 라마 지우주도 곰 엔디 총내 원실래야.
As I mentioned yesterday, we visualize the Guru above the crown of our heads, and we imagine that we take the four empowerments from him.
다디 원실래야되는 상하기 베네 탐지를 창임 총비미나 아니 긴고로도 이담하여 긴고로도 쇼네 아니 던주 렘버스나라도 긴고로도 쇼네 왕래야지 다디 탐지냐마 쏘야래야 개천부 인송어래
In taking the four empowerments, when we have transgressions of the Samaya of the secret mantra Vajrayana, if we then enter the mandala of the deity, if we do the self-entry or take the self-empowerments, then that is important for restoring these violations.
아니 드레인 유산 딴 내려야 라메기 내숨네 라메기 다 간다 구숨 내숨네 왜서 까만팅 숨퇴 진제 권에다 분배왕다 상회왕다 실비시 왕톱 엔 타마들이야 양결 바지 내순 말베 아니 바지 왜서리 총내 에너지 왕시베 이시 토야 되네 안타마 라마 라신데 예메도 자 이러면 차례 단 디기 디행 아주 긴고도 쇼네 단주래야 되기 고추 예수
So we imagine that from the Guru's three places, the forehead, throat, and heart, there radiate out white, red, and blue lights. And by these lights radiating out and dissolving unto us, we receive the Va's, secret, and prajna wisdom empowerments. In the end, the light radiates out once again from the Guru's three places. And through this light, we receive the fourth wisdom, the wisdom of the fourth empowerment. Finally, the Guru and the Guru's mind and our own mind mix inseparably. And if we do this, this is effectively entering the mandala and receiving the self-empowerments.
대양 저기 튠실라면은 좀 더지미나 오늘잖아 튠실은 냠는 척와지래 나둘이야 나둘 튠이 치료로 튠이 전에 튠실제는 냠는 척와 양 가시 지금 튠루 라면은 주사들이 어디 와래 튠 주도 전에 냠는 척 오늘 지나다 내 당부 봐 배는 참으로 듣는데 니세베 끌려야 튠 주도 전에 냠는 척 야부여스 가라사나 지게 가서요 장가만 보여비치 이내야 튠수지 뉴뉴이더 진짜 제비네 내 당부 발래 가서다지 디즈레라로 쳐요 튠루라 매니저스들이 온디요래 튠실라 매니저스들이 온디요래 안드레인 주산에 다 오늘 제가 튠실을 냐면 샤와래디 이나다 튠실을 냐면 샤데 아주 가보셔도 안드레인 주산은 다 많다야 지금 니마질이야 아니 지금 사르지 냐면 샤와데 개좀 잘해요
So with our 4-session Guru Yoga, actually it's a practice that we are supposed to do in the 4 sessions. This would mean 2 sessions in the morning and 2 in the afternoon. Sometimes we also have 6-session Guru Yogas, and these are practiced in 6 sessions during the day. Actually, for beginners, when we do retreats, doing 6 sessions is good. The reason for this is that even though there's a larger number of sessions, their duration is shorter. And so this is somewhat easier for beginners. The 4 sessions is sometimes a little bit difficult for people. And so in this way, we can either do a 6-session Guru Yoga or a 4-session Guru Yoga. In any case, it is important that sometimes it's even difficult for us to do 4 sessions of it per day. So at a minimum, we should at least do this once per day.
튠두 지에는 냠래 샤와 윤제 가라사나 전주 선배 자동에 다나시 상아 자동대주 자동 준비 가자 상아리아 그라 지 담실이야 냠자 준비 거리야 안 튠수에는 되나 안 다지 냠바소아디 칼라하브르 차리 유스레 제가 디유전 되네 가주에 튠수에라 만데 건다 튠수에는 되나 자동 차대야지 튠수에라 만데 거나야 자동 미교를 서머로 다들 진짜 선로 드제 용대야지 용대요래 제가 디유전 된 튠수에는 냠면 차들 도봐요 그래
Now, the reason why we practice for the durations of, for the sessions, or why we divide our practice into these sessions, is that with the root downfalls of the Bodhisattva vow, and also for the root downfalls of the secret mantra, or for violations of Samaya, if it goes beyond the duration of one's session between the time when we commit the downfall and when we restore it, then it's difficult to restore. It's said that if it goes beyond the duration of one session, then it becomes a root downfall. If it does not go beyond that duration, then it is not a root downfall. And so this is why it is important. This is why we should practice in sessions like this.
다음 너나 가르치러 다지 가장 쉬운 신기 더더디 계시슈디 다 늘려야 워티나 수만한 신기 때는 자야라만티 다 랑기 다레 랑기 자야라마당 엔대양 지 자야라마티야지 가사 직접지 뭐임비치지 다디 추주기 상계라 저주삼바 이름 긴거리 라서 다 간다 이제 구조 군주 등이 저송 군주 등이 dindichiliya mewa chaku yaresu.
In brief, the most important thing is, as I described yesterday, with our root gurus, is that we do not see the root guru as being a single individual. Instead, we need to imagine that the root guru is the union of all of the Buddhas and Bodhisattvas of the 10 directions, the union of all of the gatherings of deities in the mandalas. So we think that he is the union of all of the jewels.
대량 미세도 아주 지 가르에 내년도 삼당과에서 가르도스나 러니가 지 자야라마 지주도 거면 자야라마 대당 전에 다자가 된 투비왕보 다지 오이맥수도 거나 이게 좀 잘돼요래 가래사람 된 투비왕보다 안 주다 지 땜바디 땜바래 안드린 주산 디규전 때네 미세도 다지 다자가 된 투지jen다 랑가자랑 오예메도 방아디 계집직 샤디가래 다는 신기 되네 타보르무치 타보르무치에다 랑가자라마 이에메도 메네 타보르도 간데 차신 공주 야블 치베 걸어야 타보르무치다 랑가자라마 이에메도 메네 다 진짜 그 이에메도 메바치아티 계속 자도 그래 가르사나 초지네 네 냐면 타볼라지디 아주 타보그 유기 이제 대배 순제선한 다로 다가다지 타보 르무치메나 타보그 유메버데 드네 인주산 디규전데네 다 대배 타보선한 대배 순제선한 다가다 타보름 차대요 아래 라바르도 상기 좀 된대기 되네 타보 다외슈는데 망발라 지 차게심비 템바비오 롱데샤 도 차대요 제가 저 차게심이 염려 챙겨지 속에 미세도 그냐면 타볼라지다 한랑 사야라마 가서 뭐예매로 내가 차야지 개좀 차대요
One thing that it's important to really stress is that it is very important to consider that our own root guru is inseparable in essence from our teacher, the Buddha Shakyamuni. And the reason for this is that the guru, the teacher Shakyamuni, is the founder of Buddhism, and so for that reason it is especially important to consider our teacher to be inseparable from the compassionate Buddha Shakyamuni. Likewise, it's also extremely important that we consider our own root guru to be inseparable in essence from Lord Gampopa, especially when we are practicing Mahamudra. It is important to consider them to be inseparable. From one perspective, this is because Gampopa is you could say, founder of the Dakpo Kagyu lineage. He is the progenitor, the founder of the Dakpo Kagyu, and without Gampopa, there would be no Dakpo Kagyu lineage. So he is like our founder or progenitor. And in particular, Gampopa was also predicted, prophesied by the Buddha, to spread the teachings of the Buddha. And so for that reason, especially when we are practicing the Mahamudra preliminaries, it is important for us to consider Gampopa and our root Lama to be inseparable in essence.
다들 자연라마데 가르에 한게 자연라마다 응아기 되면 도지창 응아기 되면 도지창 다 오예매도 세네 다 감들 마시네 지 가르에 온 라마 임베시 나바데네 되면 도지창게 나바 도시 임베 인주사네 간다 미세도 다 아주 응아기 되면 도지창 응아기 되면 도지창 세네다 간다 저 다자가 되봐 아직 가수에 도시창 넘버 샤데아르 드리제샤 데이두스탄에 대당 오예메도 매바 샤데 다 개점이 그래요 나 냠리체 나 냠리데 저거 샤디오로
It's also important to consider our root guru to be inseparable from the teacher of the secret mantra, Vajradhara. Actually, here we are visualizing one who is in our essence the root guru and in form Vajradhara. So it is particularly important to think of our guru as being the teacher of mantra Vajradhara. So we imagine that the guru is inseparable from our teacher who arises in the form of Vajradhara. And this is because of the close connection with the mantra teachings.
다들 가만히 가르에 다다디 거스 봐봐 배나 가르에 다지 가만 감상기 제주 주거로 내미나 근데 이 감상 건도 세배 겁리야 다 가만 감상 때문에 당보디 에 지게 때문에 순제선나라도 때문에 당보디 반대 주좀 개발해 다 반대 주좀 개발하마 준비신도 규대버디 다 가만 보고 좀 혹시 차리 알아 다 가만 보고 좀 전도 다 미지기 소리 봐 개와야 안에 아주 제벌 마도 미지기 소리시 제 뉴스안에 간다르 장게 딱 간다르 매바 강화에 배지 지 가만 봐 군진 가리미냐 대당 지금 오예매도 배 유시체 대당 랑 자라마다 정원 가만 봐 수수 군진 가려면 대당 오예매도 유시셔야 돼 계시물에 좀 정도
Lastly, in this context, as followers of the Karma Kamsam, when we do the preliminary practices of the Kamsam lineage, the lord of the teachings of the Karma Kamsam, or the founder of these teachings, is the first Karmapa, Dusum Khenpa. And then, starting from him, there are all the incarnations of the Karmapa. In actuality, these are all one person who has repeatedly taken birth. And so you should imagine that your root guru is inseparable from whichever of the incarnations of the Karmapa you have the greatest feeling for, the greatest interest in. And so it is important for you to think of your root guru as being inseparable from any one of the incarnations of the Karmapa.
오야 든데 채탄다 지 오늘 좋은다 무기 소소리야 무기게야 채도 답배지 누버 지도 뽕채 수수 몇바 예배지 라마다 지 간다 저 유이 라마 탐지 누버 지도 뽕네 나 든데 제가 통하는다 그래 무기 관계계를 지다 다지 대박 관계계를 쳐야 돼 갑디 라면은 냠을 차기 그든 소를 뒤지지 못하
The main thing is that we need to develop as much devotion as we can. We need to gather all of our forces together. We need to gather all of the forces of the root and lineage lamas together and use them to develop as much devotion as we can, to develop as much faith as we can. This is the primary purpose of Guru Yoga practice.
다이네야 예 다자야라 막 자야라 막 체제 아니 치디 다다 망부지 표현송아 봐와나 자야라 막 사드 컨디지레스 기스티비나 가르잖아 미망부지 예자요한체 아니 예 자야라 막 수레스 enge zawa ma sui na di kirang nga shero chis dinde shinyin dinde ngbo yongde do
So I've been saying root guru over and over again, but the question is, well, who is your root guru? And this is and the reason I'm asking this is because many people come and they say to me, who's my root guru? Tell me who my root guru is.
다 예 자야람 음식이야 깔아가고도 교란 자야람아 에너지 사전 딜리어레스 강바디나여레스 제제 지 가장돼야 아드레스돼야 깔아가고 니네야 이 자야람아 사데 컨디지레스 셰빈다 고데브르 치 셰비미나 답데브르 치 셰비나 지당기 지 아주 저 최념의 증에 지 최리아 지 퇴성 고속의 념의 증에 지금 뭐니 시합입니다. 소소로 지기 최적 돈을 남되는 게 최적 돈에 현재의 라마 망부 요초래 지 지도 예바 요만에 망부 요초 다 된저에 지 현재 예배 라마 망보지 예배 나네 간다 다 라마 지기 오늘 고랑기 냠도 차는 예배냐 라마 셴이 개발도 봐대 버지 셴은 저도 이나 조데 감들이야 사라마 사디 조디 거진이 차네 라마 셴이 개발도 봐대 봐 소소는 오늘은 다 인지계를 개베네 personal connection somewhat 다지 소소 겔리아 미세게 다가를 투자와다 다는 신기 지 거진 첨부여야 봐 다 된지기 라마디 안 버지 랑자 라마레시 문지 샤비나 인지디아루시
It's difficult for me to say who your root guru is. I can't really say, oh, he's in this place, this house, this is the address, go to this place. Well, so then what do we mean by root guru? Well, if we talk about this in a way that's easy to understand, to explain it simply, when we are someone who practices Dharma by listening, contemplating, and meditating, then there will be many gurus, many lamas who give us guidance in terms of the Dharma. We won't just have one guru, we'll have many different gurus. But of all the gurus with whom we have Dharma connections, there may be one who has greater experience or realization than the others. And we could say that it's that one. But I think the main thing is that the root guru is the guru who has been kindest to us, kindest than all of the other gurus. We can say that it's the guru to whom we have a personal connection, for whom who has a particular affection for us and has displayed the greatest kindness for us. And I think it's fine if we say that that guru would be our root guru.
Today this ane Sagalama Sadi Chi number time Nangi Sonas and another J Nangi Kandar Sem Nangi G Sonas and another Sim Nangi Pinzungi Taji Sentani Wayme energy simnalia ji monetary 가수로다지 다조 심단에 니보에메 세모르베 다 들지 딱 봐야 돼 계속 시라래 샤 something 배차샤베이미나 냐메 다볼라지 냐메 다볼라지 당보 다가다 냐메 다볼라지 저도 중네 당보 까담발레 슈그레 까담발레 슈네 근데 주사네 까담베 계획신이 안베 년라지 망고요래 아이네야 타마들이야 다보를 무치지 로서르디 과 패스드 과 페르스나 안 밀레레바 그리베 밀레레바디 디주산다 nenjo버지레 nenjo버스나다 다가다 바 세상 맞지 태가시아빈다 미견르지 미개지기 대야 기부 미개 기부 서마르 다 드르지기 군들라 친체 뇽중도 시제 다 간다 밀레레버 뇽중소르 제제 안 가다지 미세게 콘로 곰바스게 지부지 요 말에 다나 신기 콩기 땡데네 게니에레 마도 러브도 중하게 요 말에 다나 신기 ene kadambi gwendeti junalolea ji ma shungde chenye ji na philosophical somarweji nambe ki cholia che tsini ki shungde zolia chenye cha ju dinde ke yoma 한다지 밀레레바데 툭 나와 기본으로 제제 응군라고 텐다 군 텐서나 다 응구르디 세사로 주도와 나 제가르시에잖아 시엔로 텐네 룬더블렌 슈디오르다 룬더블렌 로마트데 레손 룬더렌 슈도르마도 베자시에네 바다네 베지디 우만한데 시에야 퍼진한데 시에야 제제 슈디오마르바 이내야 다보는 것이 밀레레베 센터바섬기 코란 투리야 지 대바 총선한다 미세가 소화총 아니 밀레르 군주패 레르 군주패네 다 나와 숨쉬지도 슈베 루규시거래 나왕 거 주스다 숨쉬스 가서 슈에래 슈레 간다 타마 들이야 간다를 다보는 것이 라마 탐지게 나네 개치슈 자치슈 잠내 털동도거든 밀레레 잘
So basically, fundamentally, we don't need to look outside of ourselves to see who the root guru is. We need to look at our own internal feelings. What feelings do we have in our minds? What experience do we have in our mind? Do we feel like there's some sort of a mutual closeness or affection or not? So that's the primary thing. We need to examine to see if there's any a feeling for that, feeling in our minds. Like we can take, for example, the peerless Gampopa. Gampopa first went forth, became a monk, and he entered the Kadampa tradition. There are many famous Kadampa spiritual masters. But in the end, who did he end up going to? The one he ended up going to was Milarepa. And so at that time, Milarepa was just a yogi. If we really say it colloquial, Milarepa was a layperson. He was an old layperson. He was very humble. He didn't have any big, impressive monastery. He didn't have large numbers of monks. He had the lay vows. He was not a monastic. And so at that time in the Kadampa monasteries, they studied a lot of philosophy and philosophical texts in Buddhist philosophy and the characteristics and logic and so forth. But with Milarepa, there was none of that. He just spent his time in a relaxed and carefree manner and singing songs, or you could say singing tunes. And a student would come to him and he would sing the student a song. There is no, he never said, oh, this is what is said in the text on Madhyamaka. This is what is said on the text on Prajnaparamita. There was none of that. And yet when Gampopa first heard Milarepa's name, he immediately felt faith. He had a strong feeling in his mind. So he went to Milarepa and he spent 3 or 4 months, or maybe it was 5 or 6 months. In any case, however long he spent there, in the end, among all of the gurus that Gampopa had, the most significant for him, the one who was his ultimate refuge, was Milarepa.
아주직 자야라면 세비나 안 퍼지 치 남발 도나시우치로 라마데 깨라치 좀 가져도 라마데를 공바치 좀 가져도 라마데를 코 머뇽 가져도 아니지 라마티 동바 제본도 다민도 와지 안 다나 신기 라마티 지 꾸인도다면도 봐. 지 슝데서 셰싱도다면도 지 사르지 꾸인 캠바 가지 예원도면도 아들 내려다가 마도베 라마티 오늘 차네게 투규가 또봐 도민도 사르지다. 안 다나 신기 가르지 조직 소수 뇌네 지 라마텔리아 다 가르쇼에 균세메 발레야 지 가르쇼에 라마텔레야 오늘 라마 칸라 지 대바 랑기 끼거도 된제 마다시 녜레야 지 가르쇼에 다지 총칸질 조딩에 소시 녜라 베잘라데라 때 애는 요구도 다음에도 다딩에 소시 얼바다 맞죠 녜 잘라도 야보다 아니 녜 나완 주도는 녜 나완 주도는 유샤 되죠 얼바 총간을야 총자도 된 게 없이 내 조다 라마체마스야데 조다 소술이야 다치 총간의 소수체 소수기 가르쳐다지 대바 소수를 대바 노르니에 봐서 말어 대바 상고지도 도다 민도 안 된제가 토하네 간다라지 된제베 랑 규리예베 대바도 무기 지점이야 봐 대수지기 라마 상부지다 지 제사레 말에 다 중국으로 봐. 다띵 아주 매.
But that's not how we are. When we look for a root guru, we look at the externals. We look to see how famous is the guru, how big is the guru's monastery, how many followers does the guru have, is the guru's face handsome or is the guru's or not, or we look to see what sort of education does the guru have, what sort of qualities, what philosophy, what texts do they know. Actually, we never really end up looking to see whether that guru has developed any experience or realization within their being or not. And primarily, we never really look for our own part to see whether we feel faith or have a feeling or connection with that. We don't see whether that guru is someone for whom we naturally develop faith or not. We don't even look at this. It's as if we are going shopping for a guru. We go into a store and we look at the things and decide to buy it or not. If we like the way it looks, we buy it. If we don't like the way it looks, then we leave it. But really, when we're looking for a guru, we need to be examining ourselves. You should be your own store and look at yourself and see, do you have that wealth of faith or not? Do you have that good faith or not? How much faith is welling up? How much devotion is welling up within your beings? That is what really determines whether this will be a good guru for you or not. And yet this is what we lack.
제당 잘라진 요간 총간지는 잘라진 요간 로고는 얘라 잘라도 많이 걸어 가르삼당 그래서 수술 빼샤도 보다 따오로 수술 빼샤면은 잘라 녀도 말아 이내가 제 당하는 신기 아주 자라마지 가르러다지 자라마데 빼나 잘라 녀아 섭시미나 얘네들 녀아 세거나 수술이야 빼샤도 다가는 대바다 무기도 노도면도 따오로 되면은 아니 녀도 말아 돼 도구 말아 봐 대로지 임이라.
So before we go to a store and buy something, we have to see, have we got the money or not? If we don't have the money, then we can't buy anything. It's similarly when we go to find a root guru. It's like we have to see, have we got the money? Have we got the faith or devotion or not? And if we don't, we won't be able to get anything.
미망무시리아데 사회라면 이음인도세 심대신이 망고도 다 처진 카면도 지 남된신이 수술 최저 남된신이 매버치제 지 강에 여버래 신도 따이네 오늘 전에 이제 수술이야 대바다 타나 무기 이디 여비미나 사야라마 제 라마 미니베 강에 초칭네 매베 소식 이제 가르레슬라베미나 상계의 전수스마 탐지에 간다 지 심지에 대한 주야라베 구네 대야라스 아까서도 지 심지에 대한 주야 관도 공네 다 간다베 인진 뒤주 서마로 다가도 이네베 공부 시제대 쇼도야라스 다이네 아주 고난주 구네 대야라데 이미나 아주 고가 뭐비나 아니 공 제 상계의 전수스마 뒤주에게 아니 잘해 나한테 매버 다 고급진 아주 피우고 그래서 빼나 다 드레인 주산 땅 아주 대바도 귤이 대바도 무기게 하대 다 고급 표 라마다 상계의 전수스마 뒤주로 고급 표 그래서 다 빼나 찾으면 뒤 아주 고쳐 뭐 개고는 시죠 대바도 무기게 주산 개고도 체 아니 치료를 예비면서 야 나로를 웰컴 chen 나로를 거수슈니 수화chen 나페쇼스 대고마세 봐 고겸 치료를 미 고가서 동대네 답에 고데 마시지 대 주산 안 탑시스게요 제가 아니 상계를 전주스부터 저 탑교보를 제제 아니 치료를 그래서한테는 대대야 괴자들라 배 구세 쇼디아지 다 계시 대바다 무기 고 체토 정이면 아는 예 산업까지 상계 전수부터 상계 연패 뭐 정도 진행 유산에 저 대바다 무기당 다나유에 진짜지를 알려 보면 로삼천
But there are many people who don't feel like they can find a root guru. And for one's perspective, it's not really their fault. You can't blame them because it can be difficult. I understand that it's difficult if you don't feel like you have a guide who can bring you down the road, bring you in the direction of Dharma. But the main thing is that if we have faith, devotion, and pure perception, then I don't think it will be difficult to find a guru at all. And the reason for this is that the Buddhas and the Bodhisattvas are all just waiting to do something to benefit sentient beings. They're waiting there for us. They're waiting for the opportunity to do this. It's like they're waiting all day and all night, 24/7. They're waiting to bring benefit to sentient beings. But if we do not give the Buddhas and the Bodhisattvas an opportunity, then there's absolutely no way that the Buddhas and Bodhisattvas can help us. We need to give them the chance. By developing faith and devotion, then we're giving a chance to the Buddhas and Bodhisattvas. It's like there's a big gate. If there's a large gate, if you have faith and devotion, then you can open that gate, and everyone from outside can come in, and you can welcome them. You can make them feel welcome and give them a good reception. But if you don't open that gate, then just wait. Those people outside are waiting outside at the gate. No matter how much they beat on the gate, if you don't open the gate, there's nothing that they can do. So it's like the Buddhas and the Bodhisattvas are waiting outside of that gate. And unless we open that gate with our faith and devotion, if we do open that gate with our faith and devotion, then the Buddhas and the Bodhisattvas will push their way in. And so the main thing is that we need to have faith and devotion and pure perception.
다는 신기 배나 그래도 야와 기다리자 What's wrong? 서로 12단바 12시기 다다디야 아니 미세도 개디 랑기 랑을 짜야라마 되지게 많이 비나 아니야 심레스다 샤마르스 카레사나 ngar chuen simbege pena tabulaji dang duzum kemba dang gwesang bala soba teda thamje gi 가르송 됐으나 마음 발이야 지 가사 가실래야 지 자외라마 지 수준 문제 전에기다 에 메바 시도 제 자외라마 텐데 지단 라마 예베체 이나야다 지 딱 자외라마 성물을 다 지금 오늘 전에가 다 지 수수기 무 첨부지야 근데 자외라마 뭐 마저 임비나 아니 가수에 냠에 타보기 배나 규베기 롱 타베이미나 전에 손데 안 타볼라지 자라마 숨비나 안 처럼 주고 있어 그러나 셰셰나 드네미 인두스탄 티균산 때네 가수에다 나르천스베 지 라마 디졸리 자라마 숨네 무그셰베이미나 마드비오마나스
In particular, as is said here, if you don't feel that you're able to find a root guru, then there's no need to worry about this. And this is because great masters of the past, such as Gampopa, Dusim Khenpa, Gunsampa, and so forth, have all said that in the future, if there are some individuals who are unable to find a root guru for whom they are able to develop really true strong devotion, someone who they can feel really powerful devotion, then from the moment they receive a transmission from the tradition of Gampopa, then they can consider Gampopa to be their root guru. And so so in this way we can consider these gurus of the past to be our root gurus and develop devotion for them.
Taine Kabdilia Chikza Lamatin, Labar Zaya Lamatin Bekore, Zodi emotional Samarvataji, Semla Tsoazaji, Taba the Mugila Soviet, Sensor, Titi Cation, which Chadi already, Yinea Energy, Intelligence Samarvataji, Namju, Shira Peju, Zaname, Chagoma, Namju the Shirang Yabardo Pejucha, Labaduji. Lamatsini da demene ti ko takje cheje dras ji choji bu toran dra mai ba takje cheje gyu da menga khashe nan sung yo re go ba chunas lo chuni ba takje che go res de sung yo re da ine di takje che sa de ya jilu che dang ji re 지루 제당 신고야데 계속 싶잖아요. 딱게 제 진의 데버에도 다시 제 뉴스는 미기 교인장가 제제 가수에 지 미디기베 교인데마 뜨네 sommer 밀리아지 예 고대야 소리지 창투대야 소리지 근데 이 다시 감들이야 근데 지금 과요. 조 연den기 찬도다면 됐다고 하되 계속 싶잖아. 마도 민나고 동아디 말다. 민나고 쓰야지. 다고베 라메기 라마제제제제 안 딱제 제제제 타마들이야 다지 미디 나고 동아 쓰시. 가서에 근데 지기 저 세워 말.
So when we are looking for a root guru, we're looking for a guru in general, then primarily we need to go on how it feels emotionally. What is the feeling that we have in our mind? But this does not mean that we shouldn't use our own intelligence and our own prajna. That's not what it means. We do need to examine. We do need to use our own intelligence and our own prajna and discernment. So we need to examine them. This means that we don't only use our feelings, or we don't only go by our feelings and emotions, but we do also need to examine the guru. This is why it is said in some tantras, in some pith instructions, that if there's the need, then one should examine for up to 12 years. But when we talk about examining the guru, we need to understand what the method of examining the guru is. How should we examine the guru? Because if we only look for faults in a person, we're only looking for their bad aspects, their bad faults. If we're looking only for bad faults, then eventually we're going to... it's important for us not to mistake the motivation. It's not important for us not to let our motivation become mistaken. So if we only look for the bad aspects, then that is all we're going to find. Primarily what we need to do is we need to look to see whether or not they have good qualities or not. And so, because if we're looking for someone, if we are looking to see if they have any secret faults or to find out if they're really truly a scoundrel, that is not really what we should be looking for.
다들 지금이랑 아주 잘들 지금이랑 아주 잘들 전 치료 잘들 드린데 같이 주고요래 드린데 가서디 예전 주면에 주고요래 선이 되시려면은 저 티차이 말에
So that is enough for the morning session. And this afternoon we will continue and we will probably complete the Torch of True Meaning.